now we know that it worked, right? They were able to create the vaccine. It was very effective. But back then, they didn't even know if the technology would work, right? They were making a bet. They were having a company to work with that technology, but they didn't actually know if the vaccine that they were developing would ever work. And most vaccines don't work, right? If you develop them, the ones that we get in doctor's office, this is just a small number of all the trials that were undertaken, and a lot of them simply don't work. And even the ones that do work, the projects that end up working, often don't work very well. So if you get a flu vaccine every year, you might have a chance of like a 40% protection, right? 40% efficacy, because it's always changing, the virus is always changing, and so there's always a catch up. And so even when it's only happening in like 50% of the cases, this can still be a good vaccine. And back then, they didn't even know if they would be able to develop one. And so if you're the CEO of a company, if you're the leader of a big project, how do you deal with that? Because they are working on cancer, right? They are seeing this, they want to react to that. But then they also know that most vaccine development projects fail. And I think this is a really, really difficult decision. Do I bet the farm on it? Do I bet the whole company on it? Say, well, we might have a chance of 30% of creating a successful vaccine. And what do you do then? Do you actually invest all that money, all that time, all that bandwidth? Or do you say, well, 30% is good, but why don't we take something more conservative and then, try a project with 80%? That might be later, it might not save the world and so on, but at least it'll keep us safe.
I think it's kind of a different situation because it depends a lot on the owners of the company. And because it's been those kind of people who achieve like saving people and do something good for the population, they haven't had like the big business, the big money in mind. So like the goal was to fight COVID and to find something what's really helpful, what like protects the people. And I think because of that, they took the risk and they were like willing to, risk the whole company because in their mind was like a good thing and not only just to make money.
Absolutely. And I think, the mission, right? This is why it's so important. And, as I was reading through it, I would always have these parallels to Elon Musk. I think they would have been fine if the company went under, but they had made a good effort, right? They had put their best foot forward. They had tried everything and it didn't work out, but they gave it a really good try. I think they would have been okay with it in the end because they're so driven by the mission. And I think this is actually the right mindset to have. And I think this is something that we can often see in Elon Musk's statements, right? So when he says that the only American car companies that never went bankrupt are Tesla and Ford, right? And so all the other ones have already gone bankrupt. You can kind of see it in that statement that there is actually a tremendous risk to these kind of endeavors, right? We often just hear about them when they have been successful, right? And now everyone's saying, oh, these guys are multi-billionaires and so on. Yes, of course, but it could have gone totally different and they still took that risk. And I think in the end, this is what entrepreneurship is all about. And this is what everyone that has achieved something great, it doesn't have to be in the realm of entrepreneurship, has done, right? They have decided to write that novel, to spend 5 years on it, and spent their last money on it, and they didn't know what would come out at the end. It could have been the great American, the great German novel, or it could have been one of 20 million books that no one ever reads, right?